You know, when you walk into my shop, people bring in all sorts of stuff, and a lot of times it's coins. They pull out a little dusty box, and inside is a piece of history you can hold in your hand. A coin isn't just money, it's a story. Every single one tells you something about the time and place it came from. Who was the king? What did they believe in? What was important to them? It's all stamped right there in metal. Think about it. This little piece of silver or gold could have been in the pocket of a Roman soldier, a medieval merchant, or even a pirate. That's what makes this business so fascinating. It connects us directly to the past. We see coins every day. We use them to buy a soda or a newspaper. But we don't really think about them. We take them for granted. But for thousands of years, these were the most important pieces of technology for trade and power. Before coins, you had to barter. Imagine trying to trade a cow for a few chickens and some bread. It's messy. Coins made everything simpler, faster, and fairer. They helped build empires and spread ideas. When you look at an old coin, you're not just looking at a piece of metal with a face on it. You're looking at the foundation of the modern economy. It's a pretty big deal for something so small. The real magic happens when you find a rare one. Most coins were made by the millions. They were used, abused, and melted down. But every now and then, a few survive in amazing condition. Or maybe a coin was made with a mistake, an error. Or perhaps only a handful were ever minted in the first place. These are the ones that get my heart pumping. They are the survivors. They've been through wars, revolutions, and the fall of civilizations. Holding a rare coin is like holding a secret that's been passed down through generations. It's a tangible link to a moment in time that most people have only read about in books. In this business, knowledge is everything. And with coins, there's always more to learn. You've got to know your history, your metallurgy, your art, and your economics. A tiny detail can be the difference between a coin worth a few bucks and one worth a million. We're going to take a journey through the history of these incredible objects. From the very first coins ever made to the legendary rarities that collectors dream about. You'll see how a simple idea changed the world and why people like me spend their lives chasing these little metal discs. Trust me, by the end, you'll never look at the change in your pocket the same way again. So where did it all start? You have to go back about 2,700 years. The place was a kingdom called Lydia, in what is now modern-day Turkey. The Lydians were smart merchants, and they had a problem. They were using lumps of precious metal to trade, but it was a real pain. Every time you wanted to buy something, you had to bring out a scale, weigh the metal, and make sure it was pure. It was slow, and people could easily cheat you. The king of Lydia, a guy named Alyattes, came up with a genius solution. He decided to take lumps of a natural metal mix called electrum, a blend of gold and silver, and stamp them with an official seal. This was a game changer. That stamp was basically the king's guarantee. It said, "I promise this piece of metal weighs a certain amount and is of a certain purity." Suddenly you didn't need scales for every transaction. You could just count the coins. The first coins weren't round like we see today. They were more like lumpy beans. And the designs were simple. The most famous one has a lion's head on it, which was the symbol of the Lydian kings. It was a powerful statement. It wasn't just money, it was the king's authority, stamped in metal, that you could carry around with you. This simple invention would change the world forever. From Lydia, the idea spread like wildfire. The Greeks, who were big-time traders and neighbors of the Lydians, saw how brilliant this was and quickly adopted the idea. But they took it to the next level. They started using pure silver and gold instead of the unpredictable electrum. And they put incredible art on their coins. Each city-state had its own coin with its own symbol. Athens had the owl, a symbol of wisdom. Corinth had Pegasus, the winged horse. These weren't just for buying and selling. They were like little billboards, advertising the power, wealth, and culture of their city to the entire ancient world. The Lydian invention solved the biggest problem in commerce: trust. Before coins, you had to trust the person you were trading with. After coins, you just had to trust the authority that issued them. This created an economic boom across the Mediterranean. Trade became easier, armies could be paid more efficiently, and empires could manage their vast territories. It's funny to think that this whole global economic system we have today, with credit cards and digital currency, all goes back to some smart Lydian king trying to make it easier to buy and sell stuff at the local market. It's a direct line from that first lion coin to the quarter in your pocket. When the Greeks got a hold of the idea of coinage, they turned it into an art form. Seriously, Some of these ancient Greek coins are masterpieces. We're talking about miniature sculptures made by the best artists of their time. The level of detail is just incredible. The most famous is probably the Athenian owl tetradrachm. On one side, you have the head of the goddess Athena, and on the other, her sacred animal, the owl. These coins were so trusted and recognized that they became the first international currency, kind of like the US dollar of the ancient world. You could find them from Egypt to India. They were a symbol of Athenian power and cultural dominance. Then came Alexander the Great. When he conquered most of the known world, he did something brilliant. He standardized the coinage. He issued a massive amount of silver and gold coins with his own image on them. This was a huge deal. Before him, rulers didn't usually put their own faces on coins. They used gods or symbols. Alexander put himself on there, looking like the hero Heracles. It was pure propaganda. It sent a message to everyone in his vast empire. I am your ruler, and this is my money. His coins spread Greek culture and language everywhere his armies went, a process we call Hellenization. After the Greeks, the Romans took over. And if the Greeks turned coins into art, the Romans turned them into a powerful tool of the state. The Roman Empire was huge, and they needed a way to control it, pay their soldiers and collect taxes. Coins were the answer. They mass-produced coins in mints all over the empire. The most famous was the silver denarius. It was the workhorse of the Roman economy for centuries, and the Romans absolutely perfected the idea of using coins for propaganda. Every time a new emperor took power, he would mint new coins with his portrait on them. It was the fastest way to let everyone know who was in charge. Roman coins are like a history book of the empire. You can see the emperors get older, you can see their wives and children, you can see buildings they constructed, and you can see battles they won. When an emperor wanted to celebrate a victory, he'd put it on a coin. When he built a new aqueduct, he'd put it on a coin. They were the internet and the evening news of their day, all rolled into one. When you find a Roman coin, you're finding a message from an emperor sent out 2,000 years ago. It's an amazing feeling to hold that direct connection to one of the greatest empires in history. When we talk about rare coins, we often think of big, beautiful gold and silver pieces. But you know what can be just as interesting? The small stuff. The little bronze and copper coins that everyday people used. These were the coins for buying bread, a cup of wine, or paying a toll. They don't always have the glamour of a gold aureus, but they tell you a much more personal story about daily life. These are the coins that have seen it all. They've been in the hands of farmers, shopkeepers, and soldiers. They were the grease that kept the wheels of ancient and medieval society turning. In the Roman Empire, for example, you had coins like the bronze as, or the smaller quadrans. A Roman legionary might get paid in silver denarii, but he'd use these small bronze coins at the local market. Because they were so common and less valuable, people lost them all the time. That's why today, metal detectorists in Europe find them constantly. They are a direct physical link to the common person of the past. Holding a small, worn Roman bronze coin is like shaking hands with a regular guy from 2,000 years ago. It gives you a real sense of what life was actually like, not just the big stories of emperors and generals. Moving into medieval times, you see a lot of what are called small silver coins. After the fall of Rome, the big organized minting systems broke down. Local lords, bishops, and kings started making their own coins. Often, these were tiny, thin pieces of silver, sometimes smaller than your pinky nail. A famous example is the English silver penny, which was the standard coin for centuries. To make small change, they would literally cut the pennies into halves or quarters. That's where the terms halfpenny and farthing, a fourthing, come from. These little cut pieces tell a story of a time when money was scarce and had to be physically divided. These small coins are often a huge challenge for historians and collectors. The designs can be crude, and the inscriptions are often blundered or hard to read. Identifying them can be a real puzzle. But that's part of the fun. You might find a coin from a small feudal lord who only ruled for a couple of years, and his coins are the only physical evidence he even existed. It's like being a detective. These humble, everyday coins prove that history isn't just about the 1%. It's about the millions of ordinary people whose lives were just as real as ours, and whose forgotten money still has a story to tell. It's easy to get focused on Greek and Roman coins, but you gotta remember, the whole world was making money. And honestly, some of the most beautiful and interesting coins come from Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Let's talk about China for a moment. They invented cash long before Europe, but their first coins were, well, pretty different. They actually used cowrie shells at first, and then they started making bronze versions of things like tools and knives. Eventually, this led to the classic Chinese cash coin. You know, the round coin with a square hole in the middle. That square hole wasn't just for decoration, by the way. It was so you could string hundreds of them together for easier counting and carrying. This design was so successful it was used for over 2,000 years. In the Islamic world, coinage took a unique turn. Early Islamic teaching discouraged showing images of people or animals, so their coins are completely different from the Greek and Roman ones. Instead of a portrait of a ruler, the coins are covered in beautiful Arabic calligraphy. They feature verses from the Quran, the name of the ruler, the date, and the mint city. They are, honestly, masterpieces of graphic design. An Islamic gold dinar or silver dirham from the Middle Ages is not just a piece of money. It's a statement of faith and a work of art. These coins were traded all the way from Spain to the borders of China, which really shows the vast economic power of the Islamic Golden Age. And you can't forget Africa. One of the most fascinating ancient kingdoms was Aksum, in what is now Ethiopia and Eritrea. The Aksumite were a major power in the ancient world, trading with Rome and India. And they were actually one of the first kingdoms in the world to put the Christian cross on their coins, way back in the 4th century. This was a huge statement. It announced their new official religion to the entire trading world. Their coins, struck in gold, silver, and bronze, are incredibly rare and tell the story of a powerful African kingdom that is often overlooked in history books. From the massive, chunky silver coins of India, stamped with hundreds of tiny symbols, to the gold phonums of the southern kingdoms that are as small as a grain of rice, the variety is just staggering. Each culture developed its own unique solution to the concept of money. They used different metals, different shapes, and different designs that reflected their own worldview. When you collect world coins, you're not just collecting money. You're collecting philosophies, religions, and artistic traditions from across the globe. It's a reminder that history is a big, complex story, and Europe is only one chapter. When the first colonists came to America, they had a big problem: no money. There was a severe shortage of official English coins, so they had to get creative. People used whatever they could. Wampum, beads made from seashells by Native Americans, was used as currency. Tobacco, beaver pelts, and other commodities were also used in barter. But for real transactions, they needed coins. So, a lot of foreign coins circulated. The most popular was the Spanish silver dollar, also known as a piece of 8. It was so common that people would chop it into 8 wedge-shaped bits to make change. That's actually where we get the old phrase, 2 bits for a quarter. Seeing the need for their own money, the Massachusetts Bay Colony decided to take matters into their own hands, even though they weren't supposed to. In 1652, they hired a guy named John Hull to set up a secret mint in Boston. They produced the first coins in British North America. These were simple silver coins, like the New England shilling, the willow tree shilling, and the famous pine tree shilling. They were technically illegal because only the King of England had the right to mint coins, but they did it anyway for over 30 years. These coins are incredibly rare and valuable today because they represent America's first steps toward economic independence. After the American Revolution, the new United States had to create its own national currency. The old system of state currencies and foreign coins was chaotic. So, in 1792, Congress passed the Coinage Act. This established the United States Mint in Philadelphia, the first federal building erected by the new government. It also set the dollar as the country's standard unit of money. The very first coins were struck in 1793. They were copper cents and half cents. The designs were a little rough. One early cent had a depiction of Liberty, with her hair flowing wildly, which critics said made her look frightened. It was nicknamed the flowing hair cent. The early years of the U.S. Mint were a story of trial and error. The machinery was crude, often powered by horses or men. The quality of the coins could be inconsistent. They produced gold coins, like the eagle, half eagle, and quarter eagle, as well as silver dollars, half dollars, quarters, dimes, and half dimes. These early American coins are incredibly popular with collectors. They represent the birth of our nation. Each coin was a declaration of sovereignty, a symbol that the United States was a real country, with its own money and its own future. Holding one is like holding a piece of the American dream itself. Every field has its legends, its holy grails. In American coin collecting, there are a few coins that are so rare, so famous, that just saying their name gets people excited. The top of the list is probably the 1804 silver dollar. It's known as the king of American coins. Here's the crazy story. These dollars weren't actually minted in 1804. The mint stopped making silver dollars in 1804, but didn't record it. Years later, in the 1830s, the US government wanted to make special presentation sets of coins for foreign rulers. They looked at the records, saw that 1804 was the last year silver dollars were made, and so they minted a few new dollars, but dated them 1804. Only about 15 of these are known to exist. Then you have the 1913 Liberty Head nickel. This is another coin with a fantastic story. The official design for the nickel changed in 1913 from the Liberty Head to the Buffalo nickel. But somehow, a mischievous mint employee named Samuel Brown is believed to have secretly struck just 5 Liberty Head nickels with the 1913 date. They were unknown for years until he showed them at a coin convention in 1920. For decades, people have been trying to track down all 5. Today, they are all accounted for, and whenever one comes up for sale, it sells for millions of dollars. It's the ultimate example of a rarity created by a little bit of mystery and rule breaking. My personal favorite might be the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle. This is a $20 gold coin with what many people consider the most beautiful design in American coinage history. In 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt took the country off the gold standard to fight the Great Depression. He ordered all gold coins to be returned to the Treasury and melted down. Almost all of the 1933 Double Eagles were destroyed, but a few, maybe around 20, escaped the mint. For decades, the government considered them stolen property. One finally became legal to own after a long court battle, and it sold for a world record price. It's a coin with incredible beauty and a dramatic, controversial history. These legendary coins are more than just money. They are artifacts with incredible backstories. There's also the 1894 S. Barber dime, where only 24 were minted for some unknown reason, and only about 9 are known today. Or the Brasher doubloon, a gold coin made by a private goldsmith, Ephraim Brasher, in 1787 before the US Mint even existed. Each of these coins represents a unique moment, a mystery, or a quirk of history. That's what makes them so valuable. It's not just the metal content or the rarity, it's the story that comes with them. And in the world of collecting, a great story is priceless. So why do people do it? Why do they spend thousands, sometimes millions of dollars on old coins? I see it in my shop every day. It's not just one reason, it's a whole bunch of them. For a lot of people, it starts with a connection to history. It's one thing to read about the Roman Empire in a book. It's another thing entirely to hold a silver denarius that was actually used by a Roman citizen 2,000 years ago. It makes history feel real and personal. Each coin is a miniature time capsule. It lets you touch the past, and for a history buff, there's no feeling quite like it. It's a passion for connecting with the people and events that shaped our world. For others, it's about the thrill of the hunt. It's like a treasure hunt that can last a lifetime. Collectors often try to complete a set. Maybe they want one of every quarter made at the San Francisco Mint, or a coin from every single Roman emperor. This quest can take you to coin shows, auctions, online forums, and pawn shops all over the world. You're always searching for that one missing piece to complete your puzzle. The satisfaction of finally finding a coin you've been looking for years is immense. It's about the challenge, the pursuit, and the joy of building something special, piece by piece. Of course, you can't ignore the investment side of it. Rare coins have a long track record of being a solid store of value. Unlike paper money or stocks, a rare coin is a tangible asset. It has intrinsic value in its metal content, but its real value comes from its rarity and demand from other collectors. For some people, collecting coins is a way to diversify their investments. They see it as buying a piece of history that is likely to become more valuable over time, as more people become interested in collecting, and the supply of rare coins stays the same. It's a hobby you can enjoy that might also pay off in the long run. But I think for most serious collectors, it's a combination of all these things, plus one more, the love of the object itself. It's about appreciating the art, the craftsmanship, and the story behind each coin. It's the feeling of being a custodian of history. You're taking care of this little piece of the past so that it can be passed down to the next generation of collectors. You're preserving a story. It's a hobby that is intellectually stimulating, historically significant, and personally rewarding. It's more than just a collection of metal objects. It's a legacy, and that's something you can't put a price on. Some of the best stories in the coin world are about the finds. We're talking about treasures that were lost for centuries and then suddenly reappear. One of the most famous is the Saddle Ridge Hoard. In 2013, a couple in Northern California was walking their dog on their property and noticed a rusty old can sticking out of the ground. They dug it up and found it was full of gold coins. Then they found 7 more cans. In total, they uncovered 1,427 gold coins, mostly $20 double eagles, dating from 1847 to 1894. The face value was about $27,000, but the collection was valued at over $10 million. It's the biggest buried treasure find in U.S. history. Then you have shipwrecked treasures. The SS Central America was a steamship carrying a huge amount of gold from the California Gold Rush when it sank in a hurricane in 1857. Along with the passengers, 3 tons of gold went to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. For over 130 years, it was lost. Then, in the late 1980s, a team of explorers led by Tommy Thompson finally found the wreck. The treasure they recovered was unbelievable. Thousands of pristine gold coins, including massive 50-pound gold bars. These ship of gold coins are now highly sought after by collectors because they come with an amazing story of disaster and discovery. These finds lead to some pretty spectacular auctions. When a truly rare coin comes up for sale, the whole collecting world holds its breath. I mentioned the 1933 double eagle that sold for a record price. That was in 2002, when it sold for $7.59 million. But records are made to be broken. In 2021, that same coin came up for auction again and sold for an incredible $18.9 million. Just a few minutes later, at the same auction, the only 1822 half-eagle gold coin available to private collectors sold for $8.4 million. These events are exciting because they show just how much passion and value is in this hobby. These discoveries prove that there's still history out there waiting to be found. People are still finding hoards of Roman coins in English fields with metal detectors. Divers are still finding Spanish treasure off the coast of Florida. And sometimes, the rarest coin is found not in a treasure chest, but in a simple old family collection that someone inherited. It makes you wonder what's still hidden away in attics, buried in the ground, or sitting at the bottom of the ocean. The story of rare coins is still being written, and the next incredible find could be just around the corner. That's what keeps this business exciting. You never know what's going to come through that door.